The land of the Kazakhs has been the home to savage conquerors, like the Great Khans or the Seljuk Turks, and most recently, look, a degree of nuance is of course needed to explain exactly why the factions of the world careen violently toward each other. But I think the numbers are adequate in this case. By the spring of 1970, 35 million Russians, branded inferior communist specimens, were dead and bulldozed into mass graves where cities like Petersburg and Moscow used to stand tall. Now, all that stood in the way of the mechanized might of the Germans was the young men who just years before dreamed of normal lives filled with laughter and love and the everyday strife that makes the beautiful things in the world so special. I understand these wounds are fresh, but I think it's important to talk about them with the same gravity that people felt 20 years ago while living through them. Because of these atrocities, many of my peers have spent the better parts of their lives obsessed with explaining the strategic causation of the Third World War. But with ever a bit of hope in my heart, I have decided to dedicate my life to researching the crackpot mission to end it.
I will say one thing about Japan or East Dakota, whatever the Yanks call it these days. The tea is first class. People always said great things about Oriental tea. It's supposedly what they're known for. Or perhaps that's Indonesia. Either way, it's beautiful, this gorgeous horizon and so on. That is, if you ignore the fact I've spent the whole time in this bloody Whipple. You know, someone made a great mess in the galley. You maintenance boys should clean that stuff up. Thought I'd trim the trolley and fix up a nice curry sauce, but I lost my footing and the whole pot went for a Charlie's Day all over the damned place. Excuse me, boy. Are you deaf Have you gone idiot?
You're pretty funny, Chief.
Private Captain Kara Singh, Hindustan Forge. It's a pleasure to be meeting you both. Lieutenant Robinson, your reputation precedes you. I was thrilled when I discovered I would be on vessel with the Night Shark of Lisbon.
By 1968, Clark Robinson had been in the Marines for 7 years, but he only achieved any kind of notoriety after the liberation of Lisbon. For weeks, captains were trying to devise elaborate plans to strike through the French blockade, but only the Night Shark of Lisbon could sneak underneath the blockade and eliminate 6 destroyers from a mile below. When he was interviewed by CBS reporters, Lieutenant Robinson told them, "I had orders to do a job, and I got it done."
Lieutenant Clark Robinson, United States Marines. To be honest, you're embarrassing me, Captain Singh. It's not every day I get that kind of praise from a child graduate. It's a pleasure. Commodore Evers.
You little aptycock! What a clever ruse! I'm chuffed you took the time to read my file, but you left out a sir. I was knighted by Queen Elizabeth when she was still at her hottest. Sir Norman Evers, Commodore in the Royal Navy. Ah, what the hell? It's been too long since I've been to India. How's the tigger? What in the bloody hell?
Never do that again!
For?
Lieutenant Robinson, I see you've gotten ahead of schedule. How can I be of assistance?
Yeah, the IPS could use a good look over. And apparently there's a mess in the galley. Don't trouble yourself with that.
Ah, good man. I see you're still adhering to Anglo military efficiency. Just happy to see you folks aren't too far outside the old British Empire.
When is this meeting set to begin? I was under the impression that the top 4 soldiers of the coalition would be present. Is this the Brits' attempt at making power?
I'll have you know, Bobby, this is my Second World War.
Oh yes, the British and their relics. How kind of them to pass on yet another dusty old one to us.
What's that supposed to mean?
When was the last time you saw war, Commodore?
Whoa, Captain. Is that any way to speak to a Commodore? Hey, listen, forget it. Americans have had the Brits chirping at us for years. Get used to it. And Commodore, I think the captain is just pointing out how valuable it is to have an experienced guy like yourself aboard. No one here would knock your impressive record. Now, fellas, let's all just try to relax until the Rusky gets here and spoils all the fun. Yeah.
Good God, man. What in the bloody hell happened to you?
Do you have food?
Most of the soldiers arrived in East Dakota via military aircraft. Commodore Evers and Captain Singh were even greeted with fanfare and applause when leaving their home countries. So I'm sure it was a little bizarre to see such a gaunt young man arriving on the sub representing the might of the Soviet Union. To be honest, it's a little bizarre that the mission even left on schedule, considering that Pavel's state-sponsored mode of transportation was a horse that he rode through Siberia for roughly 3 weeks.
Your commanding officers never faxed over your file. What is your name and rank?
Pavel Kozlov. Captain?
Germans gave you what for, huh, Rusky?
Where's the food?
Excuse me, gentlemen. I need to go clean something up.
Hey, I appreciate you being on your A game, but I think we should boot the guy. Let's drop him off at the nearest American embassy. He'll be fine. I mean, come on. Kid looks like he just got out of basic.
It's an honor to be addressing 4 of the bravest men from 4 of the bravest nations on Earth. Gentlemen, where is Commodore Evers?
Sorry, Jack. It's good to see you.
Gentlemen, your mission is probably more important than any other job pulled off in the history of the world. Gentlemen, you are the best of the best, and you will inspire yours and my own countrymen. You 4 are the best chance at uniting the coalition and bringing together the free people of the world to once again look fascism in the eye and say, "Not today." Your sub is equipped with 4 nuclear warheads aboard with you now. Only with the turning of 4 keys into the central computer can you initiate the launch. You've all been briefed on this mission, so I won't bore you with any further detail. You gentlemen will be heroes of the world. They shall call you the Turnkeys.
Okay, boys. As your captain, I've decided to...
Wait!
And if fighting the Jerrys is what we intend to do, then I'm your man. How many of us can say that we've marched into Berlin, butchered the Hun at Dresden? I have fought alongside Yanks, Reds, even Indians for that matter.
None of us want to crap on your way of doing things, but this is a pretty new age war. We could use some new age ideas.
A new war? Explain to me how the Germans attacking Europe is anything new.
Come on, everybody could see the Germans going back to their old ways. I don't see how it's my problem the Reds weren't prepared for the obvious.
After a series of border skirmishes across the 1950s, the United States was concerned another European war would break out. So President Eisenhower imposed a treaty on his close German allies that would only allow them to attack the Russians in case of communist aggression. The vague language of that treaty held up for about 10 years before the German far-right coalition was able to claim that communists had infiltrated their government.
All I mean to say is that this is a pretty messed up situation. Now might be a good time to step aside and let the new crop have a turn, huh?
And you're some spring chicken. What about Pavel here? What about all of his new ideas?
Whoa, hold on. Let's give the title of captain to a guy whose nation can actually win the war. I mean, no flack to Kozlov here, but what have the Reds done in the past year besides lose land to the Germans?
Why do the loudest opinions always come from those furthest from the front?
Oh, and you've been on the front, huh, cadet?
It's Brevet Captain, and as a matter of fact, I have. I led the April offensive that destroyed the Turkish blockade in the Bay of Bengal.
And when were those ships commissioned? 1917? Just because they're floating doesn't mean they're dangerous. There's a difference between shooting ducks and fighting on the front line. This is an American submarine provided by the American military. It only makes sense for an American to captain.
I'm sure that makes sense from an American perspective, but please remind me, who sat out to the fight until now?
That's a big load of bull and you know it.
Ooh, he's got your nuts in the knuckles there, Lieutenant. Ha!
Okay, fellas, let's use our heads here. Alright? I've got a direct line of connection with the most powerful military in history, and I've proven I've got what it takes to lead.
This may be an American vessel, but you're out of line if you think I will be walked around in an American leash!
I didn't realize success scared you so much, Captain Zing. There's a reason the American Commonwealth is the greatest nation on Earth. We get shit done. I've got the grit, the connections, and the experience to be captain.
Experience? Ha! You boys have never been tied up by fascists and harvested for blood pies.
I'm sure you Westerners get a lot of shit done if you commit to the effort like the rest of us. Until then, I will take your opinions simply as commentary. Captain Kozlov, your perspective would be of some use.
We're voting? I vote for,
Captain Singh.
Captain Singh. Yes.
Wow, Kozlov. I admit I'm surprised. Must be tough to admit you don't have the balls to lead. But I think the obvious choice is right here in front of us. Clearly, you're right, Commodore. Experience is what we need.
Bob's your uncle. Finally, someone's got their ducks in a row. Now, gentlemen, I think we should set our course for the Mediterranean.
Gentlemen, let me remind you, we have yet to tally a vote. Commodore, you continue to test my patience, but if you were my captain, I would be forced to follow your every order. I simply see this as an issue of merit and timing. I come from a much larger nation than any of you. And out of the millions Hindustan has awarded me a statistical best, I am more than confident in my ability to lead this mission to coherence and victory.
So you will listen to my orders. Well, gentlemen, I think we should set our course for the Red Sea and we'll have the cherries in a bag before Mrs. Mary starts her monthly.
You have a point, Commodore, and I'm sure you are ready to fill out this full, detailed report to our commanding officers. After that, you must be ready to radio ground control in Southeast Asia to prepare for enemy movements, run a diagnostic scan on the ship, and then ready, finally, for paperwork.
Gentlemen, while it's been a pleasure being your captain, a good commander knows when it's time to let an equally capable soldier take the lead.
Not a whole lot makes sense about Sir Commodore Norman Rundolph Evers. For every heroic tale of his actions in the Second World War, there's a story akin to the time he threw up on the Archbishop at Prince Andrew's baptism. For how he wound up on the sub as Britain's top soldier, your guess is as good as mine.
If it's all the same with you, I'll be assuming command.
By all means, boss. I'm yours to lead.
Kozlov, run a diagnostic scan. I need a ship that runs itself.
Yes. Okay.
Lieutenant Robinson, on transmission, I need enemy positions from here to Sri Lanka. Commodore, run me through what you meant by charter course through the Mediterranean.
It's actually quite simple. I worked out a little plan with my secretary, Margaret. Good girl once you get to know her. I was having a cheeky Chardonnay and a peek at the globe, and I figured that our
The
quickest
short
route...
of it, Commodore.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I figured our quickest route to Germany proper would be a little trip through the Red Sea into the Mediterranean. We would resupply at Gibraltar and rendezvous with the British Royal Navy. From there, we can slip into the Baltic and raise hell. God save the Queen.
And the Suez Canal, is it still a heavily guarded access fortress, or has God cleared us the path?
Well, I didn't say the sausage roll was completely out of the oven.
Finish cleaning the galley, Commodore.
You have a better plan.
You're dismissed.
Look, Bobby, I won't be talked to like
You are
Centennial.
dismissed!
I may intrude.
Lieutenant Robinson, I want you on transmission!
Already on it, Captain. Don't worry. Now, it may not be the quickest route, but it would make the most sense to go east through the Panama.
Why exactly would that make the most sense?
Well, if we're in the Atlantic, we can gain support from the U.S. Navy and focus on taking out the French and Germans on the water.
So your alternative of meeting to the British is meeting to the Americans instead. Get back to work! And you, finish cleaning the galley.
Like it works. This is working. This is okay. Oh man.
Kozlov, status.
It looks great.
At ease. Kozlov, I need a second set of eyes.
Oh,
As you can see, we chart a course here towards West Africa. I'm at a crossroads. The Mediterranean is further from the German capital, but the North Sea is a much deadlier war zone.
Hate to break up the shindig, fellas, but I've got intel saying there's an Indian battleship about to be attacked by the Turks about 15 clicks out?
No, that is a mistake. There is no way an Indian battleship would be here on its own.
They don't make mistakes, Singh.
What is the name of the ship?
Copy. It's the INS Kalvari. She's transporting troops to Afghanistan. Something wrong? What? Is there something you want to tell us about the INS Kalvari?
Kanav Singh's mother was by all accounts a generous woman who taught her Little future soldier the principles of empathy and patience, but her death when Kanov was 16 hit the family hard. Now, with his traditional Sikh father at the helm, empathy and patience made way for a keen sense of discipline and military hierarchy. In 1962, Kanov joined the Indian Navy, where he served on the INS Kalvari for 2 years before achieving a scholarship to attend the Chail Military Academy, which, if you're not in the know, is one of the most prestigious military academies in the entire world. And Kanov was an exceptional student. He always pushed himself toward the front, achieving more awards than any single cadet before him. When the Indian Prime Minister received the call to find his top soldier for this mission, Kanov had ensured that he was the singularly obvious choice.
You want to give us an order, Cap?
We have to save those men.
So you would knowingly divert us from the main objective.
One of our main objectives is to inspire and unite coalition forces. I am going to do that through acts of heroism.
Is this about a medal or what?
You don't find this to be an inspiring move?
We're a long way from Germany. I only wonder if you'd be making the same decision if these were Russian or British troops.
What exactly are you asking me, Lieutenant?
Just asking questions?
Well, then your answer is yes. I would knowingly divert our attention to save those men. That's enough out of you, or I will call the Americans myself!
Something's obtuse. What's the matter, boys?
Your captains decided to divert from the mission.
What the bloody hell for?
Coalition soldiers are in danger. We must save them.
That's the stuff. Let's get to it, Bobby.
Good. Kozlov, you're on torpedoes. Robinson on transmission. Everest, navigation. Man your battle stations, gentlemen. You know what this is about? Robinson, status.
I'll keep you posted.
Lieutenant.
We're about 7 clicks out, Bob. When we get there, those pesky Turks will be running back to the times of Suleiman.
Kozlov, status.
It's good. It's loaded.
What is happening?
Pressure problem! Kozlov, toss me that toolbox!
Commodore ETA.
Sorry, Captain, we're stuck at Sunday Tar.
We need to get to the men before the enemy do. I have no help to those men out here.
And whose fault is that?
Don't call my skill set into question.
Did you check the pressure valve? Did you check anything before sending us out there?
Kozlov, you informed me
No,
that...
no. Don't blame this on the Ruski. It's the captain's responsibility to make sure we're ready for battle.
Sorry, Bob, but I'm inclined to agree.
The fact is that we needed your eye on the ball. And you blinked. You do know your little oversight would have gotten us killed if we had engaged back there. We all watched you as you put your loyalty to India over your duty to this mission. With how important all of this is, I can't stand for a move like that. I vote to demote Captain Singh and act democratically until we can get our shit together and elect a new captain.
I'm all for a trip through the Devil's Jaws, but the last time a commander of mine made a mistake like that, we ended up ass up in Calais. We hadn't seen that many bodies on the beach since summertime in Wellington.
I vote the same.
It's settled. We've made it this far. I say we continue on through the Indian Ocean and decide where to go once we hit Africa. Fellas?
Aye. It's a damn shame we couldn't save those soldiers. Hopefully we find some way to avenge them.
Nothing of consequence. There was a bit of a scuffle over leadership, but I came up with a story that put the ball back in my court. I know this vessel like the back of my hand and can pull out many more tricks if need be. Everything's moving at a manageable pace. I still think I can have this turned around within the week.